When did a practical joke in the barracks go too far but somehow end perfectly? Private Jackson was the cleanest soldier I'd ever seen. Obsessive about hygiene, showered 3 times a day, ironed his underwear, sanitized everything twice, made the rest of us look like cavemen. We started small, put plastic wrap on his toilet seat. He just cleaned it off and moved on. Switched to shampoo with honey. He bought new shampoo and increased his shower routine. The pranks escalated. We short-sheeted his bed. He remade it perfectly and added hospital corners. Put shaving cream in his boots. He cleaned them and applied 3 coats of polish. Nothing fazed him. Just made him more methodical about cleanliness. So we decided to go nuclear. Operation Dirty Bird. We waited until Jackson went on weekend leave. Then we transformed his side of the barracks into a disaster zone. Spread mud on his floor, dumped garbage on his bed, smeared peanut butter on his locker. But the masterpiece was filling his footlocker with earthworms. Live earthworms. Hundreds of them squirming around his perfectly folded uniforms. We figured he'd snap, lose his mind, maybe finally learn to relax about cleanliness. Jackson returned Sunday night around 11 p.m. We pretended to be asleep, waiting for the explosion. Instead, we heard nothing, just normal evening routine sounds. Monday morning formation, Jackson appeared immaculate as always. Uniform pristine, boots mirror bright. No sign he'd discovered our prank. After formation, our squad leader pulled us aside. What did you idiots do to Jackson's area? Turns out, Jackson had discovered the mess immediately. But instead of freaking out, he'd methodically documented everything. Took photographs, made a detailed list, calculated the cost of damaged items. Then he'd spent the entire night cleaning. Not just his area, but the entire barracks. Scrubbed floors, organized everyone's gear, even ironed other people's uniforms. But here's where it gets interesting. Jackson had found something while cleaning up the earthworms. A small metal object buried in the dirt we dumped. It was a class ring. Belonged to Sergeant Martinez, our squad leader, who'd lost it 3 months earlier during a field exercise. Assumed it was gone forever. Martinez was emotional. This ring belonged to my grandfather. He wore it through World War II. I thought I'd never see it again. Jackson had spent 2 hours washing mud off that ring until it sparkled like new. Presented it to Martinez during morning formation with full military courtesy. The entire company watched Martinez tear up receiving his grandfather's ring back. Jackson stood at attention, proud as if he'd won the Medal of Honor. That's when we realized what had actually happened. Our prank hadn't backfired. It had accidentally created the most meaningful moment of Martinez's deployment. Martinez looked at us with tears in his eyes. I don't know how that ring ended up in that dirt, but whoever played this prank just gave me back a piece of my family history. We confessed immediately. Expected massive punishment. Instead, Martinez shook each of our hands. Sometimes the best things come from the worst intentions. Jackson never said a word about our prank, just smiled and continued his obsessive cleaning routine. But from that day forward, he had the respect of every soldier in the company. The earthworms? Jackson had carefully relocated them to the base garden. They're beneficial for soil health, he explained. 6 months later, Martinez's grandfather's ring ceremony became base legend. Stories spread to other units about the prank that revealed buried treasure and restored family heritage. Jackson got promoted ahead of schedule. Martinez recommended him for leadership training. Said anyone who could turn destruction into discovery belonged in charge. We learned 2 things that day. First, some people respond to chaos by creating order. Second, sometimes your worst idea becomes someone else's best memory. Jackson retired as a command sergeant major 20 years later, still the cleanest soldier anyone had ever seen, still turning other people's messes into something beautiful.